This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins, attorneys for Charlotte's startup community.
Next up is Eric Andrew with OffrBox.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Eric Andrew, and I am the founder of OffrBox.com. OffrBox is an e-commerce marketplace for the $4.6 trillion in residential investment properties that Zillow, Realtor.com, and Trulia have all ignored. Selfishly, I'm creating a solution for myself. I'm creating a solution to a problem that I have. There are 14 million investors nationwide. The $4.6 trillion in residential investment properties are homes that look and feel like commercial properties. They're businesses. We transact 1 million times per year, meaning 2 million transactions essentially, buyer and seller. And every single time someone like me, the 14 million me's, tries to transact, there's 11 to 18% of friction-related cost and delays and inefficiencies. I'm tired of the days of glorified circulars for the residential investment properties. And that's what OffrBox is. It's search, due diligence, real-time offer negotiation, contract execution, and closing, all online. Search to close from your desktop. We ran 2 pilots. First 6-month pilot said, whoop investors list and submit offers on the platform. In 6 months, we received 5,500 listings from folks like you and me and them over there. And in 6 months, we received $250 million of offers online. Our second pilot said, can we monetize this? And so we took a sample of 2 sellers in that 6-month period, 200 properties, and said, will they sell online, all tech-enabled? No advertising, no sales costs, no spend at all. And in the 6-month period, for 6 consecutive months, we transacted real estate in the cloud. Investors, brokers, the second largest residential investment property investor in the country, several of the top 20 funds, all buying and selling online in the cloud, and now we're going to market.
Thanks, Eric. Good job. So I think I know what you're doing. You had some good run-through of your numbers at the end. I think you a little bit ran out of time because I don't understand quite how you make money. Can you just speak to that real quick?
Great question. OffrBox takes a 2% marketplace fee at closing. What OffrBox is, it's a platform where folks list their properties, and buyers come on the platform. They vet the asset, they submit offers directly to the seller, they negotiate in real time online. When the offer is accepted, they complete their contract, their earnest money deposit, their entire contract process online, and they prepare for closing online. At closing, they pay OffrBox a 2% technology fee.
And help me understand why you think it's important to couch this in terms of investment properties versus why this couldn't apply to just residential real estate, period.
That's a great question. It actually complies to residential properties. It's applicable to the entire residential space completely. However, it's a problem that is uniquely pertinent to investment properties because those folks don't have a marketplace to go to begin with. So there's no home for those buyers or sellers. Secondly, they're fairly independent, which means that when you're going to a market with a new type of technology, we wanted fairly independent users, and so they're accustomed to doing things without the need of a broker, doing things online, knowing what information gaps are there and looking for it on their own. And so we thought, let's focus on a sector that doesn't have a home, that knows how to solve the problem themselves, and then provide them with a platform that gives them the tools to do what they do every day anyway.
And what's your background?
My background is I'm an investor. I've been buying and selling real estate for the past 15 years. I also was a vice president at the Google venture-backed auction.com where I launched the business unit, well, 2 of their top 5 business units, one of which tasked me with managing the top 5,000 residential investment companies across the country. And so I spent 5 years helping them refine their underwriting, listening to their issues and concerns with with the real estate sector, with their problems, what they wanted, more transparency, more speed, more access to information, and taking notes. And I took those notes and created OffrBox.
I think that would have been somehow good to work in because I caught that you mentioned you were an investor yourself,
Yes.
but right, there's a lot of people who say, I flip houses and whatever. So I think that's your Google experience is more germane, I think, in a lot of ways than just your, yeah.
So one approach that I have seen many people use that I think is very effective whenever they're talking about a crowded space in particular is basically to talk about the problem. How does the world live today and what problems you see in the way in which it exists today, and why is it that you think, why is it that you want to change it? What is the thing that you think you're going to make efficient? In the end, you basically are replacing somebody always. Typically, investors are investing to try to remove the middleman. It sounds to me like you're just trying to do some of that, and I want to understand what are the boundaries. Like you're trying to, there's many, real estate is an interesting space right now because there's a lot of inefficiencies, but there's a lot of noise too, a lot of companies. You mentioned Zillow. We looked at a company that was doing crowdsourcing of investments, property investments for a long time, companies that are doing that. There's all kinds of lenders of different types. So there's so much to talk about here that I think if you explain the specific problem that you've seen and the way in which you've seen it not work well and the inefficiencies in it, describe what the world is today and what part of the world you want to change. That would help, I think. It would help me.
Thank you for that feedback.
Yeah, what he's saying is, where's the gap? How big is that gap that you've identified from the experience you've had? The other piece that not all of us are real estate investment brokers out here. Understanding that space was a little difficult for me because I always think about buying or selling a piece of property. There's a lot of due diligence that goes into it as well as a legal process, and I didn't really understand how that just kind of runs through that. It never does when you do an acquisition of that nature, and that was a little concerning to me.
Great point. So to address both of those, the bridging the gap. So the gap it starts with brokers, really. And so the first is that residential brokers, they're excellent. They're typically trained for mom and pop looking to buy a house. And so it's granite countertops, hardwood floors, and square footage. Investors don't care about those type of things. They care about kind of your profit and loss statements, what the property management agreement says, the deed type, et cetera. Then to your point, and so for residential brokers, there's a disconnection. Then the commercial brokers, they're selling bigger buildings. And so when they see a home or even a bundle of homes, it's too small for them. And so you find this subset of property that really they're homeless. And then to your point about the information. So you go on a site like Zillow, Trulia, or any of the other sites. They provide the basic property data, but they don't have anywhere to securely store things like a title report, an appraisal, an inspection, etc. On OffrBox, what makes us different are those type of things. And so from the search perspective, we're the only platform that allows the investor who cares about the amount of income, the type, the tenant duration, or the tenant type, things like that, to search that way. And then when they find the properties that meet their criteria, we're the only platform that gives them the information you referenced, because a seller can upload those inspections, those appraisals, those profit and loss statements. So the buyer can review it right away, get the information they need, and then what's the next step? Typically, if they're on a site like Zillow, Trulia, et cetera, they have to pick up the phone, or they don't know what next. They're looking for a broker to give them the offer. On OffrBox, the technology is there. They submit the offer right away.
Okay. So you're telling me that there are no brokers that are solely focused on investors?
No, there are brokers. They are in the significant minority, and that's actually when I mentioned our rapid growth. Our largest contributor of product have come from residential investment brokers who finally are happy they have a home. And interestingly enough, while the technology allows buyers and sellers to operate without a broker, all but one of our transactions included a broker on the buyer or sell side, because those brokers recognize the same inefficiencies and also the absence of places to efficiently and quickly communicate the various things in the transaction.
So the gap that you're trying to fill is one where there are not enough investment-focused brokers, and you want to provide a platform that provide more capacity. Is that basically it?
That's the gap we're currently filling. To his first point, however, we also have realized that the technology works for someone buying a house. We've had people buy their homes on the platform as well.
But part of the problem I see here, though, as an investor, is that the residential space is a tough one because there's ups and downs, huge ups and downs. And I wonder whether the brokers are not focused on investments only, because it's sort of investments in real estate sort of come in huge amounts and they just kind of go away and disappear. So for a broker to sort of dedicate their career to that, it may be very transient, versus people always have to find a place to live. So isn't that going to be the same problem, you as a company? Like, what happens when the investment dollars in this space goes away?
No, it's perfect. Actually, that is one of the things that makes OffrBox an even stronger value proposition. When the economy is lower, folks who are buying homes to live in, because of capital constraints, they may not buy a home, or they may not sell a home, or they may not have as much liquidity. Investors, they're opportunistic, and so in the downtime, they're buying. In the uptime, they're selling or buying, or they're shifting markets. And so the investment community, regardless of cycles, they're always active. It's just a matter of what space within that cycle they'll be operating. And so on OffrBox, our tool efficiently allows them to, on the buy or sell side, to transact regardless of cycle.
My last comment, and I think maybe we should open it up to somebody who maybe knows the space better than we do, is to try to explain the opportunity in a way in which we're convincing to, obviously you've seen a bunch of questions here,
yes,
right? And you know more than we do about this. You need to make it simple enough for us to understand the opportunity that you have. And real estate is tricky because there's so many ups and downs that I would want to see that there is a sustainable growth opportunity that one can invest in, and not just take advantage of a moment in time. It sounds like you have a good solution. I think you can build a good solution. You have a good background. I'm just not sure that this space or this particular, I just don't understand enough to be able to feel like this is a sustainable space. I don't know enough about it. And educating us on that, or talking to somebody who knows the real estate space better, especially on the investment side, would work better. I don't know if you.
Thank you.
No, good point. The only other question I had is what's your ask?
We're raising $500,000 to complete. So all of our traction to date has been with zero marketing spend, no sales team, and what we'd like to do in our 200 property sample, where we sold 13 of the 200, we did it with no marketing and no sales team. What we'd like to do is add a sales team in place to support the transactions, to add an actual marketing spend, things like paid advertising, SEO, pixelation of users, et cetera, conference attendance, RIA sponsorship, and then also to refine the technology. So the technology today, it's a platform. What we're working on is a widget that will allow every investor, every user from a browser to click a button, and not just having to log into the platform, but they can make an offer on any property using OffrBox's technology at any time. Yes. So the great question. So the first is regarding compliance and licensures. So the reason we only started in Florida to date is because from state to state, there is a space where even though we're tech-enabled, the real estate commissions could say that we're engaging in brokerage activities. And so the first part of the spend around sales and marketing is also to obtain licensures across the states. But presently, we operate via the FSBO model. All the sellers on the platform are principals, are people who own the properties or they're brokers, and so we aren't acting as the broker at all, and the FSBO model allows them to, regardless of state, the level of regulation is a lot less stringent. And so the technology allows the for sale by owner person who's listing to engage offers, negotiate offers, complete the process without any level of intermediary. Yes. That's a great question. So from a seller perspective, the value proposition of removing the friction has been very attractive. In fact, our conversion rate is almost 90%. We speak to them about the value proposition. Here's a place where you can list the asset, list for free, negotiate offers in real time, set your own terms, complete it all online. Sellers love it, and so that has been a very strong value proposition. From the buyer side, the second value proposition around the 2% fee structure has been very attractive because buyers are looking to, for them it's about margin, and so it either means that they can pay a little less or pay a little more, but in either case the 2% means better economics for them because they're accustomed to having to deal with a 6% commission structure in their load in addition to the other cost. And so buyers love the savings, sellers love the frictionless experience. Thank you.